on Coleman. Count on Coleman. If your world is looking strange, you can count on Coleman for change.
Hi, Baton Rouge. Well, and especially this great old District 10. Here we are again, Coleman Cares podcast. And know that the purpose here is to share information. It is of utmost importance that we know what's going on, and I know you all remember that song there. And so today I have the pleasure to be here with me, a gentleman here that's over here in this great District 10 doing excellent work at his church, the none other than Reverend James Rile. And so Pastor Rile is going to share with you who he really is. We know that he grew up in the Glen Oaks neighborhood before leaving for the Marine Corps, and now he serves as pastor at the Little Rock Baptist Church over on South 17th Street. And so, Pastor, we're just so grateful to have you here today. And I just want you to tell the listening audience about you, who you are. Nobody can talk about who you are any better than you can tell the folk of who you really are. So have at it.
Well, I'm so glad to be here with you this evening. I'm the son of Rayfield and Vanita Rile. I am a product of Glen Oaks High, where the real Panthers roam.
Watch yourself. Watch yourself there. Okay.
I am a Marine Corps veteran. Spent 4 years in the Marine Corps. Came back. Did a number of different types of jobs. But God called me to preach at a very early age. Okay. That finally came into fruition when I was about 28 years old.
Wow.
I fully surrendered my life to the Lord, told him whatever it is that he had for me to do, that's what I would do.
Yes.
So my pastoral journey started pretty early. And about 4 years ago, God planted me at the First Little Rock Missionary Baptist Church. And I've been excited to be in the South Baton Rouge area. It's been a joy here in District 10,
yes,
with all of the history that we have here. And it just suits my personality.
Yes.
So I really have enjoyed my time here.
Tell me about your experiences, the Marine Corps, and then, well, of course, graduated high school, but the Marine Corps, and then as a pastor, how it has changed your view when you talk about a community, the community, how all of that works and center around what you're doing in this community and all of that. A Marine, just a few good men. Yeah, for sure.
Well, one thing that the Marine Corps did for me, it showed me different parts of the world. I've traveled to 17 different countries. We did a lot of humanitarian aid on the Marine Corps Expeditionary Unit. So I was able to go into some of the most depraved areas in the world, in the Philippines and in Djibouti, Africa, and actually see what a third world country looks like. But there's a little place called Okinawa, Japan, that really showed me what community was. They had a way of always coming together, never had a difficult time off of the base. Those people were a tight-knit group of people who had experienced great harm when that nuclear bomb was dropped at Nagasaki. And they are still dealing with the repercussions from that bomb to this day. But that community is so tight-knit. And so I learned a lot about how to just be communal, how to just be a good neighbor. And since I've become a pastor, that's been one of the things that I have strived to teach those that I serve. It's about being a good neighbor, about being able to serve one another, regardless of the differences that we might have in the community. If we don't stick together, anything can come and rip us apart.
And you know, when I visit your church, I see that. I see that. Now, I didn't even know about all of this. You know, I'm sitting here beside a gentleman here that's been all over the world here. And I did not know that, but I do know that when I visit and with the your congregation there, I see that commune and that gathering, and when you all on a mission, you all on a mission over there at the church, and I see that. So yeah. And so the last time that I came over for a gun safety meeting. And so, you know, folk may not understand. Wow, pastor, you know how folk want to act as if pastors are so removed, but unless this is true community here, and then as you were sharing there with the people, and not only that, but you had others to come and share their expertise about that gun safety, and you also had locks, had something to give the people, you know, about that. And you always tell folk, Pastor, that you've never seen a gun by itself cause any issues, but if you don't know how to respect a thing, you will misuse and just do any and everything. Yes, sir. So talk to us today about some of the most common dangerous mistakes in gun storage that gun owners often make, or just talk to the folk about, you know, where we are here at this stage here with the misuse of guns. So educate the people.
I really believe we've grown too comfortable with guns. One of the most difficult funerals to officiate is one where someone has perished because of gun violence. And the one word that I always use with gun violence is unnecessary. Guns have a purpose. Guns are with us to protect us from great harm. But guns are not with us to stop us from having a fist fight or an altercation over a parking space.
Wow.
Or a disagreement about a pair of shoes. And we become so comfortable with a gun, folk will pick up a gun before they pick up a telephone or a Bible. So in our community last year, we saw about a 15 to 20% drop off in gun crimes. But then all of a sudden, 2026, there's this giant spike. And we're seeing it not just in Louisiana, but all across the country.
That's it.
So as a pastor, my job is to be concerned about people. And one of the greatest concerns that I have about people is we have more guns in homes than we do vehicles.
Wow.
I mean, there's more likelihood of a person to have a gun than it is for them to own a vehicle. That's sad.
Wow.
It's sad. And
wow.
It's hurtful to me because we used to be a people who loved one another, who looked out for one another. I can come down the street, and if you saw me doing something wrong, you would spank my behind, send me home, and then my mama would spank my behind for embarrassing her in the street. Well, nowadays, that child that's walking the street is not afraid of you, their mother, or the police. And 9 times out of 10, when they're walking down the street, they have an illegal gun in their possession. And they are terrified of the reflection that they see in the mirror. I remember Chief Murphy Paul making the statement that a lot of problem with our young men is when they see one another, they don't see themselves. Right? We know that we're made in the image of God. All of us are made in the image of God. When I see you and I see other people, I see an image of God. How could I harm that? And how we do it now is we aren't communal. We don't love one another. So we'll easily pick up a gun and we would do harm that we cannot undo to one another because we don't value one another. and that gun has given us license to feel that way. That is the one common denominator in the division in all of our communities is when I want to eliminate a problem, I can simply pick up a gun. Not have a conversation, not write a letter, not sit down with somebody who can help us with conflict resolution, but simply put my hand on a gun. Guns should not be that accessible, especially not to children who are not even old enough to drive a vehicle, right? So I'm concerned with the number of guns that we have in our community.
And so, wow, you've said a lot right there, Pastor. And so we've got to think about what is the answer? What's the solution or solutions here? And we've got to always bring our parents into the fold when we are talking about our children and what needs to happen and how parents play an intricate part in all of this. So I yield to you to let's talk about what are some of the solutions for this issue.
Councilwoman Coleman, great solution. If you have a gun, lock it up. If you have a gun and it's in your home and you have children, lock it up. If you're in your vehicle, that firearm should be secured. It should not have a round in the chamber. The ammunition should be separated from the weapon. And I get it. I hear it all the time. Well, if something happens, I need to respond immediately. Well, if somebody comes up to you with a gun already, it's already too late. Right? So fumbling for a gun is not going to help you in a situation where there is close combat. If you have a weapon, take it to the firing range and learn how to use that weapon. Respect that weapon. If your children are in the house, don't just tell them don't touch it. You need to bring them to safety classes. Bring them to First Little Rock. Let me sit down and explain to them the dangers of firearms and how to use them responsibly. The first time I picked up a gun, I was 8 years old. I was with my father. He was an avid hunter. He had guns at the house. We knew that we were not to touch those guns or there would be serious consequences, right? So we need to train our children how to be responsible, how to be respectful of those weapons. We also need to be able to teach parents how to properly store them. We have gun locks at the church. If you need a gun lock, you can come to 312 South 17th Street. We won't ask you any questions. I'll ask you what type of firearm you have to make sure you get the right lock. If you know how to properly secure that weapon, you have literally just saved your children's lives.
Now, you all heard that. If you own a gun and you need a lock, go to the church. Go to the church and get a lock. See, this is non-traditional here, but this is real. And Pastor, you're to be commended for this because you know that the guns are out there. You know that there are inquisitive children. You know that parents gotta be responsible. So come get a lock. You helping them. Come on, get a lock. And then come and learn about gun safety. The parents can, then they can in return talk to their children about gun safety. You know, just as you said, lock them, put them up, put them away. You know, back in the days, I guess, I don't know if we wasn't as inquisitive as these children are now, and then there was something about when our parents told us, you better not touch that or anything. Maybe touching that hot stove one time and sending that heat through your behind was the beginning of don't do this and don't do that. But it is very important, parents, that you make sure that those guns are put away. Guns are for grown folk. Children don't have any business with guns. Guns are for grown folk. Children, you all enjoy Capri Suns and bicycles and those things that children ought to be enjoying. And then you mention about conflict resolution and respecting yourself and respecting each other. Pastor, that is of utmost importance there, and something that has fallen by the wayside, so.
I really believe if we just simply learn how to get back to talking to one another, having civil discourse makes a difference in the household and outside of the household. Because to go along with this gun problem, we have a huge domestic violence problem, which lets me know conflict resolution is not happening in the home. So I believe it's a volatile situation when there's a gun and no one in the household has control.
And also, Pastor's gonna have a summer program.
Yes.
And then as we were talking, he was sharing all that would be a part of that summer program. And when you give children other alternatives and cause them and parents to see a better way of life, they've got to do better. So talk to them about what you're doing, what you got coming up with this summer program, and all of that's in District 10. You all better know, you better listen up. So talk to them.
June the 4th through August the 2nd, we have our STEM camp at the Rock. It's for ages 5 to 17. It's an opportunity for our children to learn horticulture, agriculture, aquaponics. They'll get help with math. They'll get help with ELA. They'll get help with reading on level. We have a mini library at the church. We push literacy, family literacy. So all of those programs will be available for the children to come out this summer. We do have limited space, and we have about 25 spaces left. You can actually go to therocksbr.org at our website. You can register there. You can email me at rev.jamesrile@yahoo.com. Anyway, come by the church, stop by, get an application. But we want to create a safe space for our children where they can learn how to grow their own food. They'll learn how to grow their own fish, how fish waste helps to grow food, and how that food then turns around and helps those fish to grow and be healthier by cleaning out the water.
Is that the ecosystem?
That's the aquaponics ecosystem.
Aquaponics. You all heard that word there.
Yes.
Wow.
We're trying to give them an opportunity to be exposed to something different, right? Something that not only will help them as children, but will help them as they go on in life. We are living in a food desert.
Yes.
So we need to create other opportunities for our children to be able to thrive within the structure that we've been given. So we welcome any child. It does not matter what part of Baton Rouge you live in. We welcome those children to come. That camp is from 7 in the morning until 5 in the evening.
All day, parents, all day. And you don't have to wonder and worry about whether your child is in a safe environment there, and then learning good stuff, great stuff. And all of this at the First Little Rock Baptist Church on South 17th Street, people. So you get all of this at, as he said, the Rock. Yes, indeed. And so lunch will be served.
Breakfast and lunch.
Breakfast and
snacks.
lunch. It can't get any better. Breakfast, lunch, and a snack. And from 7 to 5, they are at the church. And so, wow. So we've talked about gun safety, and we've talked about the camp. Anything else, Pastor, that you want to share with this listening audience here? Because a lot has been said, you all, and this is great stuff here. So anything else that you would want to share?
The one thing that I really want your listening audience to understand, gun violence is not random. It rarely ever happens to just be random. Please get involved in your children's social media life. Get involved in the relationships that they have and the people that they call friend. When I was growing up, my grandmother had a saying. She said, James, the only friend you have in this world is Jesus. That's the one that you can really trust. I know that many of our children will not adopt that ideology, but I beg you, parents, get involved. Look through phones. Look through homes. Because many times those children will have guns in your homes that you don't even know about. They're taking them to school. And when that child is caught on a school campus with a gun, they essentially end their career in education because it will follow them for the rest of their lives. Get engaged. And if you don't know how to talk to your children about guns, we invite you to come to the First Little Rock Missionary Baptist Church. Come out, let us talk to them. I have other elders there that will be willing to sit down with your children and talk to them, mentor them about what happens once they pull a trigger, right? Their lives can be made or broken by some conversations. So anytime you need us, we're always here, Councilwoman.
And you know, I as you were talking, you know, I truly believe children are good at heart. But if they don't know any better, then they don't do any better. And then you'll notice that when they do that which is not right, then all of a sudden they realize that they've messed up. Absolutely. And so then you're talking about you are in a place with grown folk that have broken the law, and it is disheartening to know that children, I don't care if you're 15, 16, 17, you're still a kid, that you are in a place with some older people that are in there for some serious crimes. And as you said, parents, you've got to be parents and do a better job of not hooping and hollering and all of that, but teaching and having conversations with your children and knowing what's going on. Wow. And so I've got to go to that summer camp and see the aquaponic. Did I get that right? Aquaponic. Now, and they say you never get too old to learn. And so, yes, indeed. I know aqua mean water. Yeah, I know that. But I want to see the process there. Aquaponics. And then the excitement in the children, because that's hands-on stuff, and that's what children enjoy. I tell folk there's an art to devising a camp, and it appears to me that you have perfected that art in what you're doing here. These 8, that's what he said, 8 weeks of working with these children. So as he said, he has a limited number of spots left, so you all need to get up on it. And he gave you how to get enrolled. And again, tell them the website, the email address or website or whatever. So I don't want them to miss this. The more children that we have involved in summer programs, then the better it's going to be in our communities.
Absolutely. You can reach out to us at www.missionary.org. therocksbr.org. There is a direct email address that I will give you to our camp director. That is admin@therock.org. That's admin@therock.org. That will go directly to our camp director. She will contact you immediately upon receiving that registration form, and we will begin the process of making sure that your child or children can be enrolled in camp this summer.
You all heard it. And I want to say to those of you, if you don't have a camp, support a camp. And this is one that you definitely can support and help our children. So you've heard it. I appreciate you. I appreciate your wealth of knowledge and just coming here to share with the listening audience and just good old non-traditional stuff that's placed out here for the people. And so just want to say thank you so very much. And we want to say to you all, here we are, and remember in all that we do and letting you know all that's out here in the community that Coleman cares.
Count on Coleman. Count on Coleman. If your world is looking strange, you can count on Coleman for change.